All right, what's up, everybody? Hey, welcome to the training. What we are doing today is we're going to be going over how to launch products profitably. I'm going to be setting the context and the frame for what it looks like to be able to charge higher prices, to build audiences with raving fans. We're going to be going over how to release products to people who are ready for you to buy them, which makes it a lot faster and easier for you to get products up and moving quickly. It also makes it way easier to get reviews. So one of the big challenges, there's actually a couple challenges that a lot of product sellers, not just physical product sellers, and especially not just Amazon sellers, although they're all included in that, the challenge that they face is they've got product, and then they just go out and they either give product away for free or they have nobody that is ready to buy products from them the day that things go live. So I'll tell you a quick story. When I was starting one of my first companies, which was a yoga products company, it was called Zen Active Sports. I sold that about a year after starting the business. And every business that I start with the intent on selling it for a big payday. And this was my first big payday. When I sold Zen Active Sports, it had reached a certain level. And the reason it had reached a level was because of our launch strategy. It was because of our ability to get that product off the ground very quickly. And so I remember when we did all this hard work of choosing a market, choosing what product we were going to be in, choosing what products were going to be within our product line. And what we did was we chose a yoga mat. We had yoga towels and yoga blocks. And we put all this hard work into developing the product line. And then we put a few $1,000s into our first order of yoga mats that are now sitting on the boat in the Pacific Ocean. We're super excited. We're super nervous. It's the first business that Sean, my business partner at the time, and I had started together. We're excited. How's this going to go? And then we go, okay, it's going to be 2 months while this product sits on the shelf. WTF do we do now? Right? We got 2 months to sit on our hands. What do we do? And I knew that everybody else who was going out there and trying to compete with me was sitting there on their hands going, la da 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 da. What do we do? And I said, okay, Sean, here's what we're going to do. Here's the question I need us to answer. What are we going to do right now so that 2 months from now, when our product shows up at Amazon's warehouse, because we were selling on Amazon, all this stuff works no matter where you're selling. It doesn't matter if you're selling physical products, if you're selling digital products, if you're selling consulting, if you're selling insurance, does not matter. All these strategies apply to all of it, but it works really, really well for physical and digital products, and we'll go over why. But I said to Sean, what are we going to do right now so the minute it hits Amazon, we are taking orders from day one? I don't want to have a ramp up period. I don't want to be sitting in the position where we've got products sitting at Amazon and we don't know what to do next. I want to hit day one and be worried about not having enough inventory. That's how do we make that so? When you ask yourself that question, you start building a real business. So what we did was we put up a little tiny Facebook page called I Love Yoga. I did a video about it. I did a speech about it at one of Amazing.com conferences. It was very well received. You can watch it on YouTube. Some of the strategies are still applicable. The mindset is still applicable. Some of the strategies have changed a little bit. But what we did is we had a Facebook page. We drove $10 a day in traffic to a Facebook page. We had 3,000 to 5,000 followers, drummed up some attention, created a little bit of a launch plan. So the day that it hit, we were taking orders. And yes, at the time we did giveaways. We sold things for $1 or $5, but we were also taking full price purchases from day one. And that is the goal. your goal as a business person is not to be giving away products at discounts. Your goal as a business person is to be taking regular, consistent, full price purchases from people who want you, not the competitor, not because you're the cheapest, not because you're better, but because it's you and your brand. That's how we're gonna build multi-million-dollar businesses. So that was the first question that we asked was, how do we set it up so that day one, we are taking sales? So we did it on Facebook. We built a little bit of an email list so that we could pull a lever and make sales, right? Now, what most people do is the opposite. They do all this work into getting product. They do all of this work into choosing their market and getting it on whatever sales channel it is, and then it sits there and they're scrambling to try and push sales, make sales, and it's a really, really hard way to build a business. Now, how many of you have seen my video on YouTube that is 12 months from 0 to $1 million in 12 months on Amazon.com? How many of you have seen that video? Okay, cool. Most of you. I'd say probably for a good half of you, that might be why you're here, right? So I'm going to remind you that the formula for $1 million business is 3 to 5 products times 20 to 40 sales a day at a $20 to $40 price point equals $1 million. So I've talked about this formula fairly publicly, kind of beat this to death on my podcast, on the YouTube channel, but where a lot of people fail in this process is they change one of the variables. So this is the formula that we want to follow to get to $1 million if you're not there yet. And if you are above $1 million, like some of you are already selling a few $1 million a year, we just need to up these numbers. We release more products. We grow this from 40 to 400 sales a day. We release higher margin products, higher price products. So what most people will do is they'll start here and they'll develop a few products, and then they'll put them somewhere. They'll put them on ClickBank or Kickstarter or their own Shopify store or something, and then just hope and pray for sales and go, well, why am I stuck at $4,000 a month rather than getting to the $1 million that this guy on YouTube said that we were going to hit, right? So the question becomes, what do we do here? What's the system through which we can take people and plug them through this formula? And what we're going to go through is how we have this piece so that we can effortlessly release more products at the high price point and from right away be popping at this 20 to 40 sales per day. Not like taking 6 months to get there, but we can come out of the gate with a plan to be able to release these products consistently at that quantity at full price. Full price. Not at $1 or $5, which is what a lot of people will do. This is one of the things that we're going to be covering in depth throughout this entire training is when we talk about getting your prices higher, talking about getting your profit margins up. Because launching products profitably is not just about volume. It is about how much profit are we taking from the volume that we're collecting. Like we can sell 20 to 40 sales a day at 0 profit margins. Plenty of people do that, but that's not a business that you want to run. That's not a business that actually frees up your life. That's not a business that you can scale. And yet most of the people in this game are competing almost entirely on this. They're competing almost entirely on what am I charging how do I get as low profit margins as possible so that I can outgame the other person? And the reason that they're doing that is because they're trying to extract customers in cheap and easy ways rather than building this, rather than building the pipeline for us to be able to effortlessly release products that are your own brand. Now, the reason why I emphasize that so much is because those pieces are what is going to determine if your business is sellable or not. So, middle of last year, I sold a company that I'd started with $600. I sold it for over $10 million in cash up front. I still own a pretty sizable amount of that company that's now owned by a group out of Dallas that I advise, and that company is growing the business that I built and they bought from me or bought a stake in. And in a few years, I'll probably get another $10 or $11 million check when that exits again. And the reason why we were able to get that amount of money was because A, we had the ability to launch products profitably. So a $600 investment 5 years ago, we were able to take off the ground and get moving. And because we had a brand. And a brand comes from customers who choose you, who are willing to pay a premium for you. For example, I got this guy sitting here, all right? This is one of my buddies in Austin, Aubrey Marcus, has a company called Onnit. Onnit is a $50 to $75 million a year performance company. Supplements, foods, kettlebells. They have a gym. They have a cafe. And the people, if you see any of these products in the store, they're twice the price of everybody else. Twice the price. Now, and people pay it. Why are people willing to choose this product and pay a premium versus somebody else who's selling the exact same thing, but for less? It's because they've got a brand. And a brand has the ability to launch products to specific people who are ready and willing to buy something. Another example would be Quest Nutrition. Quest Nutrition has a bunch of different protein-based desserts, if you will. Quest does not need to call me and say, hey, buy our product for $5 in order to game the Amazon algorithm, right? I am going to choose to buy from them because I'm a raving fan and I'm buying something that is different about that company. And because I'm a past customer, they have my data. So they're going to send an email, put up a Facebook post, and be in front of me. This is what we ultimately are building. Most people start with the product. They have the product and they go, what do I do now? And so they throw it on Kickstarter, they throw it on ClickBank, they throw it on eBay, they throw it on Amazon, and they hope and pray that it sells. We're going to answer that question that I asked Sean. That question being, hey, how do we set it up so that day one we can take orders, which is going to make pumping through this process much easier? So we're going to solve for this in the equation. We're going to solve for the buyers, solve for the system, solve for the people, so that we can take these 3 to 5 products, plug them in, and get this output. We get the 20 to 40 sales a day fast, quickly, at the high profit point, so that we've got the $1 million business. So those of you who are watching me on Zoom, give me a yay or a nay that you're with me so far, and then I'm going to jump into actually showing you what it looks like. Okay, give me yes, awesome. Now, give me a woot if put woot in the comments if you can see how if we solve for this, if we've got the pipeline, how we can plug it in and have $1 million business, which for the record, I consider $1 million business the starting point. We have proof of concept if we have $1 million business. I consider, hey, come on in. I consider investing in companies when they're at that $1 million point. Otherwise, they have no proof of concept. How the heck are we going to know if something is a success or not if it's not $1 million? Money does, like having capital doesn't solve any problems. It doesn't do anything for a business if you haven't already proven that you can take that and turn it into $1 million a year in sales. So there's some people that say capital holds me back. Calling BS on you, because capital doesn't hold you back. You have no proof of concept. that is the problem we have to solve, is proof of concept. So give me a woot if you can see that if solving for this creates it creates a much, much faster and easier process for getting $1 million. That's a lot of woots. All right, cool. Yeah, all right, so let's go through how we are going to build this pipeline. All right. So our goal is to be able to take a group of people and put them through a process so that we can effortlessly turn them into raving fans, high-priced customers, and be able to have that pipeline for releasing products predictably. All right. So remember, our goal is if we are stuck under 100K a month, our goal is 3 to 5 products selling 20 to 40 sales per day at a high profit margin, so we have something that we can scale. So what most people will do, for example, hey, let's just assume for a second. Let's just play and say, let's assume this is all the product demand in the world. So these are all the everybody who wants to lose weight, and you sell a weight loss pill. That's going to be our assumption. So this is all of the demand for weight loss pills in the world. How much of this is taken up by Amazon? Would anyone like to guess? Somebody says 33%, 10%, 30%, 90%, 20%, 40%, 20%, 50%. Okay, 17.14%, 40%, 40%. All right, so most of you are saying about 40%. All right, would you like to know how much it is? I need a blue. All right, so this is how much is represented by Amazon. That much. That's how much. So this is Amazon. Here is demand in the rest of the world. Now, I work with a lot of Amazon sellers, which is why I emphasize this. We could sub this out for Kickstarter, ClickBank, retail, whatever, okay? So this is what most people are doing. Now, I love channels. Like I built all of my businesses off the idea that you should find out where people are that are demanding your product, find out where all these people hang out, and go put your product in front of them, and then work the channel, work the system from there. So they have their place. But here's what most people are doing. They're saying, all right, so this is where all my buyers are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and extract this, and I'm going to deal with all of the people who are trying to go after this dot, and I'm going to try and get as much demand for my product as possible from here. So I'm going to pull the customers from here and get them into my business and try and make them demand me from here, right? So what they'll do is they'll compare their product to everybody else who's in this dot. So we've got all these people in here, and they're like, oh, you want to charge $39? Will be $37. And somebody else is going, well, I'll do it for $34. So I'll do it. And all of a sudden we have this coming down of prices. And meanwhile, there's all of this. all of this demand. Actually, so this should be your, we'll just keep it Amazon, all right? So here's your Amazon store, right? So we're trying to pull the demand into your store. And so we have all these people who are scrambling for these scraps, playing this pricing war. And then the question becomes, hey, what headline are you using right now? Hey, are bullet points still relevant? Hey, what? And then this is the silliest thing. People will be like, oh, I don't talk about what niche I'm in. Oh, I don't talk about what products I sell. I spoke on stage last year at an event in Kiev, Ukraine, and somebody who was there was a student of mine, somebody that I'd interacted with and really enjoyed. We had a nice relationship. I was like, hey, by the way, what's your business? And he says, oh, I'm in health and beauty. I was like, what's your business? He goes, oh, I don't tell anybody. I was like, oh, that's adorable, right? Because that assumes that you're afraid that somebody in the dot is going to pull all of this demand away from you. That's a weak way to build a business. So the game that I like to play is, I'm going to kill some trees today, C-Money. Yeah, we are killing trees, everybody. I like to play a different game. I'm sure that sounds really good on the video. Here's the game that I like to play instead. Okay? I like to play, here is all of the demand in the world. Okay? And here's my business down here. Oh shoot, I should have drawn this opposite. And let's say here's Amazon over here. Or Kickstarter or whatever. So let me ask you this. So since I asked all of the demand in the world, where does the demand hang out? Like where are there people? Not just where transactions are happening, but where's their demand? Demand is everywhere. They might have their transactions done over here, but we're looking at, like, people are on Facebook, right? People are on social. People hang out on the street, right? Like, I mean, all of the demand for something. I like to concentrate this and then bring it to the channel, which gives me money. What this does is it makes the pie much bigger. So what most people do, again, this is, people will start here. This is the dot, right? Here's the dot. This is the dot zoomed in on. And what most people are doing is they're trying to pull as much of this as possible. What I like to do is take the demand, bring it to the dot, make the pie bigger, and that's where I profit. So here's what I mean. My goal is to have the demand already before I take the order. Most people are starting it here and saying, where's the demand on Amazon? And I'm going to pull that into my business and try to make a profit from that. So now I am completely dependent on things that are happening on this side of things. I'm completely dependent on where Amazon ranks me. I'm completely dependent on what competitors are charging on this channel. I'm completely dependent on what mood they're in that day. I like to be in the position where I develop the demand, I develop the control, and then I bring it to simply the point of transaction, which is Amazon, and that is how I'm able to stay in control. If Amazon makes a change one day, I still have this piece. If Amazon ranks a product higher than me, I still have this piece. If a competitor drops their price, I'm still here. So I'll give you an example. An acquaintance, mentor, colleague of mine spoke on our stage last year. His name's Brian Lee. He was the founder of The Honest Company. He was the founder of LegalZoom. He was the founder of ShoeDazzle. So he has multiple billion-dollar businesses. We call him the serial e-commerce billionaire. And I was with Brian a couple days ago in LA, helping him go through some launch strategy for a new project he's working on. And he said to me kind of informally, he says, you know, I launch all of my businesses around an audience. And he kind of shrugged his shoulders and he's like, what other way is there? So when he started LegalZoom, he partnered with the biggest celebrity attorney in the world. His name was Robert Shapiro, right? See many?
That's Kardashian.
Is it Robert Kardashian?
He's
Who's Robert Shapiro then? Whoever worked on he was on the OJ
He's on the OJ case.
Yeah, all right. Somebody Google that for me. And then he had ShoeDazzle with Kim Kardashian. And then he had The Honest Company with Jessica Alba. And all of these individuals had followings. They had an audience. And he launched to that audience. So he had this from day one, right? So this is, we take social, for example. Kim Kardashian has a few people who follow her on social media. So that gave him a pipeline to distribute products, which then he can send them to Amazon. This is step one, not this. And again, we can sub this for Kickstarter. We can sub this for any place where you are taking an order. We can sub this for ClickBank. We can sub this for any channel. In fact, so I was saying earlier, I've built all of my businesses on channels. Reason being, I find out where people are based. I give them what they want. And then I'm going to try and optimize that channel. Absolutely. So a channel is Kickstarter. A channel is e-com. Channel is Amazon. A channel is ClickBank. But I am never, ever, ever starting here. I start here, consolidating the demand and bringing them into the channel. So another, we mentioned Quest earlier. Quest Nutrition is one of the top selling products on all of Amazon. All of Amazon. Honest Company diapers, one of the top selling products on all of Amazon. Do you think they give a flying flip about where they rank for keywords? All the focus is here. Now, bring in someone like me who understands the Amazon channel a little bit and can make a few tweaks and optimizations to the channel, and now they've exploded. Not because of this piece being all dialed in and having as much of the blue dot as possible, but because we have so much of this that when we combine them together, we've got a multi-million-dollar business. Did anyone just have a braingasm? Hashtag braingasm. By the way, this is how we do applause here at Freedom Fastlane. Hashtags. The more hashtags, the more of an insight you're having. So the braingasm here is that so many, I would say all of your competitors, almost all of them, are focusing right here. But if you put your attention here, you win at both. So forgive me for continuing to go back to the example of Amazon, but I work with a lot of Amazon sellers. And Amazon sellers are really good at this piece. And then they do things like leave fake reviews on each other's listings and try and get people banned and don't talk about their listings because they're obsessed with the blue dot. this much demand. And then they really struggle to build audiences. And so they just don't, because all of their attention is here and they never go out and they generate outside demand and bring it in. But if you do, so going from here to here is really freaking hard. So people ask like, how do I build an email list? How do I get all these customers on Amazon to follow me on social? You can, but it's hard. However, if you focus on this piece as your primary way of generating demand, this part, super easy. So I brought up Brian Lee earlier, and part of the reason why I'm excited to be working with him is because he starts on this piece. So guess what happens when he and I partner together? Guess what happens when I say, great, I have all of this knowledge and I bring it in. Or another example is I have a friend who has a blog in the health and wellness space who has a really, really big following, a nice email list. They have a lot of readers they rank for a bunch of keywords in SEO, and they mostly sell ads and affiliate products on their blog. Great way. That's actually how I made my first $100,000 in business. Like a great little business. They don't know the physical product world all that much. And I know that if I take a physical product and I go to them who have all of this, and it's like, look, I'm going to put this on Amazon and I'm going to work on this piece and optimize this, and they bring their people into this, my channel blows up and my business makes a lot of money. This is just a much superior way to build a business. So now some of you are going to see this and go, oh, so that means I need to go get an influencer. No. What I'm saying is, if you are not putting more attention on this than you are on where you collect the order, you're going to have a hard time in business. You have missed the point. So now, I've had my big exit. I'm going to be looking for more big exits. All of my focus, all of my attention is now on working with people who already have this. So what we're going to do together over the course of working with some of my team members, over the course of this training, over the course of the videos that we do together, I'm going to bring in some partners that are going to be sharing what's working for them. We're going to be talking about building up this piece. That is how we do profitable launches of companies. It's how we can bring all of this attention into our existing product line, into a new product line, a new business or an existing business, and we put it on the map very, very quickly. Not because we gave away a bunch of product, not because our headline was so great, not because our images were dialed in, but because we controlled the demand, because we had enough concentrated demand. Somebody has put a whole lot of hashtags. Cole asks, how did you read my mind? So, well, I studied psychicism in college. So that this is the shift, that if you make this, you win in business. So I was telling the story, C Money, I told you this story earlier. When I was in high school, I was a sophomore in high school, I heard of a scholarship for a camp that was fairly well known in my space. I grew up really active in the Baptist Church and the Christian Missionary Alliance. I went to college thinking I was going to be a pastor. And so in my church, there was this scholarship made for a Christian camp that I had wanted to go to. And all you had to do was you had to write an essay saying why you wanted the scholarship. So I wrote like a 1 or 2 page essay, and I submitted it, and the person who read it was like, oh, short and sweet. Now I had put actually a good amount of thought and effort into this essay, But so I was a little bit like, oh, they're not going to like it because it was short and sweet. So I was a little bit like, oh, kind of like a bummer, when you work really hard on something and then somebody is like, oh, all right. And your expectation is just, so I felt a little bit like, oh, that's sad. But about a week later, the person who had taken it from me called me over and he was like, hey, I just want you to know that you won the scholarship. And I was like, oh, that's really great. And what happened was I went to this camp, and at the camp, I met a counselor who told me about the college that I ended up going to. And at that camp, I also met the pastor who I ended up shadowing for my pastoral ministries class. And when I went to that college, I met, some of the best friends I ever had. I also met an economics professor named Tom Lehman, who completely changed the course of my life, changed the way that I think about life and business and economics and politics, which ultimately led me to develop an interest in business, entrepreneurship, politics, and I bought the domain name capitalism.com. So if you look at this decision to apply for this camp scholarship ultimately led me to the college I went to, the line of study that I ended up choosing, and the business I run today of capitalism.com. Now, the reason I tell you this is because I found out later that I was the only applicant for that camp. It's the only one. So that one pager that I wrote that was short and sweet got me an opportunity that completely changed the course of my life. The reason I tell you all of this is because when you do this, you are competing in a world of zero other essay writers. Everyone, 99% of your competitors are scrambling for the blue dot. They are scrambling for this amount of demand, hoping that someone notices them and clicks buy and leaves a review. And then they're going, please, oh please, we're a small family business and we really need your review. And this is what everybody is trying to do. Whereas the people who win, the people who focus on one little shift, this, and even do it half right, they end up winning at both games. And they have a multi-million-dollar business. Now, let me position this even let me free up some of you who are a little bit stressed about this. Even if you do this an ounce right. For example, when I launched the Zen Active Sports business, we had 3,000 to 5,000 Facebook likes that we had built over $10 a day. When I had Sheer Strength, which was a fitness company that I still own a part of, when we were promoting products at the beginning, when we were right at like the $100,000 a month point, our list was only like 4,000 people, which wasn't a ton. We did all of this. I am not an expert at this. Brian Lee's an expert at this. Or I shouldn't even say that, right? Brian goes to people who are experts in this. I am now working with experts who are dialed into this. You don't have to be. You need to do this much so that you are in a position to make this pie bigger. And you will already be ahead of 99% of the people who are trying to compete without you. Here's what I have narrowed it down to. I have found that between 100 and 500 sales is enough to completely move the needle if you're bringing them from here to here. We should get a count of how many times I put my hand here and draw it into this section. I think right now we're at 3,900. So this is the thing I'm going to beat into your brain, is that your job is not to be focused on the channel, but to go out and bring the outside demand into the channel, and the channel rewards you. It rewards you for bringing new life to it, whereas everybody else is trying to capture as much of it as possible. Here's the difference. This example that I was showing you earlier, on it, it's very rare that I would go into a retail store, see a company like Onnit on the shelf, and go, oh, what is this? I'll read all about it. But it happens a lot that I know about Onnit because I've seen them here, I've seen them somewhere, and then I go in and I see them on the shelf and I'm like, hey, look, it's Onnit. See the difference? So now I'm willing to pay for this because I thought of this first. When I go to Kroger, H-E-B, and I see this on the shelf, I'm excited. I'm not going, $28.99. This other probiotic is only $19.99. I'm like, oh, cool, look, they have it. And this is all of your buying behavior, yet we forget about our own buying behavior once we become business owners. Once we have competitors that are charging $1 less than us, we freak out, we forget how to run a business because we start thinking about the blue dot. We start thinking about a threat to the thing that is giving us customers. Whereas if we switch it and our focus becomes on getting the awareness, getting the people so that they recognize us, or we can bring them into this piece, we'll get both. So your job, the number that I have isolated is 100 to 500 buyers, which requires you to be in front of 1,000 to 5,000 people. So that means 1,000 to 5,000 person email list, 1,000 to 5,000 followers on Facebook, right? That is not rocket science. That is the number that we need to be in front of to be minimally viable to make a meaningful impact. If we can bring 100 full price sales to Amazon, we have enough lift to be able to get the machine moving. We have enough lift to be able to get Amazon to freak out, rank us higher, and if those 100 sales were positioned well and they're raving fans, how easy is it going to be for us to get reviews? Versus somebody who bought because we were $19.99 versus $21.99, and now we're like, please, oh please leave a review. We really appreciate it. We'll even put a sticker on our box saying how much it means to us, right? That is a low status game where we are always scrambling for the scraps. Whereas a higher status, which gets higher level people, is going to be us owning our space, knowing what we are worth, and then getting the people who resonate with that to buy on the channel that we collect the order, which in a lot of your cases is Amazon, Kickstarter, ClickBank, whatever channel you are using. This is also true with something like Kickstarter, because if you just take a product and you put it on Kickstarter and hope that people find it, you might do okay. A video might go viral. But if you are, hey, C-Money, who's a celebrity you like? Tim Ferriss?
Yeah.
All right, so if Tim Ferriss does a Kickstarter and he already has the audience and he tweets out, I'm doing a docuseries on psychedelics, go support it here. Do you think he cares where he ranks for keywords on Kickstarter or if the video goes viral? No, he owns the demand already. So now I know when we talk about Kim Kardashian or Quest Nutrition or a big nutrition blog or Tim Ferriss, I know the temptation to say, but I don't have an audience. Your job is not to build a giant audience. It's to get enough demand into one place where we can move 100 to 500 units at full price to give us enough lift to beat everybody else. And that's what the entire process that we're going to be going through in this training series, in all of the outside people, my team members going to be reporting on some things that are working for them. When we bring all of that together, that's what moves the needle so that we've got enough movement to get to that $100,000 point, $100,000 a month point. And when we're at $100,000 a month, then you can give me a lot of money to join one of my mentoring programs. And I might end up investing in your company because that is the minimum viable point at which I go, hey, as an investor, I'm interested in you. So that's going to be our goal, to be able to create that system to sprint through that. Now, if if you had come from a training, if you had not found me because of my success on Amazon, or if you had not gone through a training that was all about Amazon, you would naturally probably not think this way. So as a result of going through this process that we'll put together, you'll start to naturally think about this piece, which is going to make it much, much easier and effortless for you to be able to control that demand, and then combine that with your knowledge about Amazon or Kickstarter or ClickFunnels or whatever it is, and you will be off to the races. You will have that ease of releasing the products profitably and systematically so that you can just put the products to your audience, have them buy it. They'll naturally leave reviews with a little bit of a push. You rank for keywords much faster and easier. And now we've got the system. We have the flow. Because most people are treating this business reactively. They're going in and saying, this product's selling, throw it up there. God, I hope we win. I hope we get sales. What this does is it puts you in the position of control so you can choose whatever products it is that you want to release, which, by the way, frees you up to do a lot cooler things in your business. For example, once again, I'm a super fan of Quest Nutrition, so I use them as an example a lot. Quest Nutrition recently released a new lineup of kind of like Dorito competitors. They did a new kind of chip, right? Now, there's no internal demand on Amazon for this. There's no there's no one on their customer list going, wish they would do a Doritos competitor, right? Like, no, but they know they already have the demand. They already have the audience. So when you do something different and those raving fans know about it, they go, oh, that's cool. And now I want to choose that. So those of you who are running physical products businesses, this frees you up to do cool things in the marketplace that before you don't have, before you're going like, what are other people selling? I'm going to sell that. This lets you go, you know, what's actually going to be valuable to my audience? Which when you start thinking about that, that's when you've got an 8-figure business that you can sell. That's when you're like, okay, now I'm in charge of a company. Now I've got something that I can scale. That's when people start telling their friends about you. That's when you get to be on it. That's when you get to be Quest. That's when your business has real life, rather than you just being at the mercy of this point of the process. This is the game changer for everything, all right? Hey, give me a yay or a nay if you're still with me or if you are digging this stuff, and then I will go on into some more stuff about what we're going to be covering. Oh, I got a hashtag yay. That's what I like to see. All right. So here's what we're going to do now. And by the way, so I'm seeing some of your questions about like, so does this mean, I'm just going to repeat myself. Does this mean that you have to go out and get an influencer? No. Does this mean that you need to have a giant email list or partner with someone who does? No, but it sure makes things easier if you want to do that. And that's one of the things that we're going to be covering in future topics. The important distinction here is that when you have the effortless way to release the products, that 100K and up becomes much easier. And your focus needs to not be on the channel. It needs to be on bringing life into the channel so that the channel rewards you, and that's when you've got a big business. There's a lot of, for example, there are a lot of people who are focusing here, and they've got Amazon dialed in, and then they go, hey, I got Amazon dialed. How do I launch a Shopify store? Because I have all my eggs in this basket. So now I want to have a Shopify store that builds my business. This is what most people will do. And by the way, has anybody ever had this before? Like, hey, Justin Dyson, good to see you, man. So a lot of people will say, hey, all right, so I've got Amazon, but I'm afraid Amazon's going to make a change. I'm afraid Amazon's not going to give me reviews. I'm afraid Amazon is going to kick me off. So I'll feel better when I have a Shopify store. That's the thing. Somebody call Ezra Firestone. Tell me how to build a Shopify store. I love Ezra, by the way. Wonderful human being. Or maybe it's, you know what I need? I need some influencers. That's it. I need people on Instagram to talk about my product. I got all my eggs in Amazon's basket, so what I need is some Instagram influencers. That's going to be the thing, right? And then it becomes Shopify right now. Oh, it's Instagram or no. Actually, it's I don't know. It's Jet. It's going to be Jet. Jet's going to be the new thing. So what we do is we say, okay, I got this blue dot dialed in, or I'm afraid the blue dot's going to go away. I'm afraid of losing my blue dot. Heaven forbid I have to go after all this other demand. I'm going to lose my blue dot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a Shopify store. I'm going to put all this work into learning a brand new channel, a brand new thing. And what I'm going to do there is now I'm going after the purple dot. Now I've got my Shopify store, which is the pink dot, and now I'm trying to build a business off of a couple dots, wondering why I'm stuck. What I'm suggesting that we do is that we do this part, which makes it really easy for us to hit send, dominate Amazon, and for us to hit send and build up. Oh, I just realized this says Shopify Story. Shopify Story is just like a Shopify store, but with a beginning, middle, and end. And now we've got a pipeline to do both. So when the next new thing comes out, when Jet is the big thing, when Walmart is like, you know, we finally got our tish together, Walmart.com is finally a player. Walmart's trying real hard. Walmart really needs to give me a call. Walmart has given me a call when I've said that publicly, so I need to say it more. Walmart, you need to get your tish together and I can help. So when Walmart becomes the thing and they take market share away from Amazon, now we don't spend our time going, hey, does anybody know what images styles are working on Walmart? What's working on Walmart? What a ridiculous question. The question is now, hey, does anyone know how to hit send? And you send them to Walmart. And all you have to do is, hey, we're now on Walmart. That's when you can win at multiple channels. Not because you hire a Walmart expert. Actually, you might. You might hire a Walmart expert at some point who can optimize the channel based on the firepower that you've got. But you don't spend a year trying to grind your way on Walmart. You go to the demand and you bring the demand to Walmart.com. Walmart calls you up and is like, hey, obviously people love you, and now we'd like to feature you front and center in our store. This is how you win. That's the shift. You control the demand. You don't control the channel. In fact, by controlling the demand, you de facto control the channel. All right, let's kill another tree. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you some of my favorite spots. All right, so let's go through. Places where we can develop enough demand to be able to move the needle. All right, so my my number one favorite thing is email lists. Email lists of past customers, future customers. This is my favorite thing. Now, the reason why this is my favorite is because it's where my core skill set is. I understand it's not everybody's core skill set. But an example I'd like to present to you is there's a company I really like called Mizzen & Main. Mizzen & Main is a clothing company. Mizzen & Main is in retail stores all over the place. They have a huge Shopify presence. I have spent more than $5,000 on Mizzen & Main clothes. And I know this because I'm in their Admirals program, which requires you to spend at least $5,000 with them. And Mizzen & Main sends an email to me whenever they have a new shirt out. And guess what I do? I buy it. Right? They don't need to discount it. They just need to tell me it exists. Awesome. I choose you. I choose you, Mizzen & Main. I choose this shirt. Let's buy it. So whenever they have a new product out, they release it. Past customers buy it, and that's the power of having all of your customers in one spot. So email list is my favorite because it's the easiest and fastest to take from, nothing to sales on day one. Justin says, Ryan, you only ever wear like 2 shirts. Just in public videos. So email lists are my favorite because they are the absolute fastest to be able to generate demand. And even if we don't have buyers on our email list, if we have prospects on our email list, there are ways that we can structure that to where we have really fast sales. And I'm going to be leading a session all about email throughout this training. All right? To a little bit of a lesser extent, another one I like that's still emerging would be Messenger. So Messenger is a really, really fast and easy way for us to be able to build that 1,000 to 5,000 or 1,000 to 10,000. No, it was 1,000 to 5,000 people. So we can have 100 to 500 sales when we're ready to go live with something. And you can do it very, very affordably to have those prospects. We might have to do a little bit of a discount in order to get them paying attention to us. But once we've got them, we've got them. And the response rates are really high. And so we're going to spend some time going through how we can develop messenger lists to be able to have prospects that we can market to. Okay? So that's number 2. I need to pick a new color. The next one that I like a lot, this one I've had really, really good results with, is Facebook groups. Love them. Love them, love them, love them. This is especially hot and topical right now because Facebook right now is rewarding groups in the algorithm. So they're showing up more often, and the engagement and the response rate is really high, and the cost to build them up is very low, to the point where when you're in a Facebook group that's providing value for you, people start inviting other people. We're going to go through some strategies on how to build up these groups, how to get people to engage. And you do not have to be doing a ton of content for any of these. For like one of the questions that comes up is, how much content, what type of content do I give people on email lists? I don't want Mizzen & Main to send me content. Do I care if Mizzen & Main is like 3 styles that'll look great for summer? No, I don't care. I don't want it. I'm not going to read it. That's the email where I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, good, I can delete that. I can delete that, right? I don't care. I want to know what the new shirt is. I've already shown you that I buy. Just give me more stuff to buy. I don't want to read your 3 summer fashion styles. I don't care. That's not why I go to you. I go to you to give you money. So you do not have to be doing a ton of content. You don't have to be doing any content. Facebook groups are similar. Facebook groups are similar to the point where we can do one of two things. We can do very minimal content, or we can tie our content to a goal that our product supports. So we're gonna end up doing things like 30-day weight loss challenge. Guess what they're gonna buy? All your weight loss stuff. We're gonna do a 30-day running challenge. You're gonna buy all your running stuff. It might be Runners Unite, and all these people are interacting with each other, and this group is sponsored by Dale's Running Club, right? So this is how, these are three of the ways that we're gonna bring all of the demand into one place so that we're in control to be able to send that to the channel of our choice and get those 100 to 500 sales. Another one that I like that is both a channel and an audience builder is Kickstarter. Kickstarter is the only thing that I have seen that both is a channel for purchases and a channel for audience at the same time. I've never seen that happen before. So whether you've got a new product or a product, an existing brand with new products, putting something on Kickstarter is a great way to build an audience. And when you combine this as like step 2, and you've got a Facebook group that you use to promote your Kickstarter, it's like a 1 + 2 = 5 impact. Because you've got a little bit of demand, now you've got a place for them to purchase and become raving fans, and now we get both on the other side. Because Kickstarter gives us leads, it gives us attention, and it gets us sales all at the same time. It's a very, very unique blend of a channel and a place where we can develop an audience. And it is a place that we're gonna talk about throughout this training as a way to amplify the results of our business. And then the last one that we're gonna talk about is influencers. I think most people are doing influencers wrong. Most people are like going out and just like paying people to talk about them. And I don't think that's the right way to do it. We're gonna be talking about creating long-term relationships with influencers and benefiting from their audience and getting them to really buy in to what it is that we're doing so they talk about us naturally and effortlessly. Now, when we've got this, this is when we can charge higher prices and have an effortless system for promoting products. So we mentioned Tim Ferriss earlier. One of the products that that Tim talks about is Four Sigmatic Coffee. Are you guys familiar with Mushroom Coffee by Four Sigmatic? Somebody says, how did you do that? Do what? Pull off this awesome shirt? I got it on Amazon. The way that Tim Ferriss talked about mushroom coffee, nobody goes out and is like, are they doing a discount right now? No, you bought because the person you follow endorsed it. Leading on price is a terrible differentiating factor, okay? Now, one of the things that we'll talk about is when you do this stuff right, you can basically write your check for how much you want to charge for a product. Not what everybody else is charging. What do you want to charge? What's the value that you put on your own product? And when we look at the blue dot versus the rest of the demand, the blue dot is price sensitive. The rest of the demand doesn't care. And by that I mean price is the last thing you consider before making a buying decision. That's a writer downer. Price is the last thing that you consider before making a buying decision. So all of you who are worried about price sensitivity, you're worried about the least important thing in differentiating your product. The first thing that people look at is a solution to a problem. And that can come in the form of newness. It can come in the form of endorsement. It can come in the way of price if price is the problem. But most of the time, that's not the case. When I buy a weight loss product, I'm buying it because I want the weight loss, not because I want to save money. When I buy a food, I'm buying it because I want the taste, not because I want to save money. In fact, if you give me a Quest bar versus a One bar, the first thing I say is, which one's new and different? Which one solves the problem? And then I might say, what's the price? And all of us do this. Unless you say, I need X, I need cups. First thing that happens when you make a buying decision is, I'm out of cups. Problem. I've got people coming over and I need them here fast. So speed is the difference. I'm going to use Amazon Prime to get them. Amazon Prime Now. Show up in an hour or less. This is a gut health product. I'm having tummy problems. Not, that probiotic's cheaper than the other one. I'm going to buy that one. No one does that except business owners who are looking at what everybody else is doing and saying, I'm going to charge a little bit less. So, all of this to say, our job is not going to be creating discount clubs or giving away product. It's to be going out and getting the people in these areas, addressing the problem that they have, and introducing our solution as if it is a new solution, even if it's not. Because it is going to be a new solution for the people that we're bringing it to. If you are going after only Amazon customers, it's very hard to position your stuff as new. If you are going to the rest of the world, if you're going to the big area of demand, your solution gets to be new again. And you bring those people to Amazon, and that's when you own the channel. Does this sound good? Give me some hashtags or some thumbs down in the chat box. That's a lot of hashtags, Andrew. All right, cool. So what we are going to be doing over the next couple days and weeks is we are going to be giving you the strategies that are working well in these areas. This is what our focus is. Our foci are going to be. It's going to be how to get in front of the people who want our products on these channels so that we can effortlessly release the products that we've already got and do very profitable launches. And we can get that 1 to 500 sales that give us the pop from day one to be able to own the channels where we're taking orders. And part of the context I want you to get throughout this entire training is that price is your least important differentiating factor. Your product is a solution to something, and you need to go bring that solution to people that are hunting for it rather than hunting on price. Very few people hunt on price. And once they are hunting on price, it's because they've already gone through all of the other thinking processes of making a buying decision. So when you're marketing on price, you are marketing to the lowest common denominator, to people who don't care about your brand. They're not going to be repeat customers. They're not choosing you. 0 people buy from Onnit for price because they're the most expensive. In fact, I would probably argue there are how many people are like, oh, I freaking love Walmart. I just love Walmart. There are very few people whose favorite company is the one that's the cheapest. I can't think of any. I'm sitting here trying to think of an example, and I'm having a hard time. You know what my favorite wine is? Trader Joe's $1.99 red wine. My favorite coffee is that H-E-B decaf. No, you don't. Yeah, right. Shudder. Right? So very, very few people are choosing their favorite brands based on price. We're already over time, so I'm just going to hit a couple questions. Darby says, but my parents loved the $2 ground chuck from Trader Joe's. All right, question. The $100 to $500 sales, to have an impact, do they need to be during a period of time? Yeah. What's the difference between a blast giveaway other than the price point? So depending on the channel, that's going to change. I do find that $100 to $500 or the 100 to 500 units moved in a short time frame absolutely helps. I found that if you can, if your channel rewards price over a given period of time, like Amazon does, and in some ways Kickstarter will, yeah, that becomes part of the optimization of the channel. The important part is that you have the ability to repeatedly go to your audience and pull the lever for 100 to 500 sales. We can do that repeatedly. We own our own destiny. That's the beauty of being in control of that demand process. What's a good cost per subscriber to shoot for when building an email list and a messenger list? So here's what we're going to do. I'm bringing in either members of my team, myself, or contacts that I know who are just doing amazing things in each of these areas. They're going to be talking about those specific channels. And when they go on and they talk about what's working for them, then we can address, what's a good cost for this? What do we want to avoid here? But there's no blanket rule for all of these different platforms. Do I need a Shopify shop for Facebook group? No. So where our demand is, I'm agnostic to that. Where we control our channel, I'm agnostic to that. You can do this on ClickBank, Shopify, your own store, Amazon. That to me is where we collect the order. That to me is where we pull the lever and make a sale. That can be, I'm agnostic to how you do that. I'm equally agnostic to how you get in front of your ideal people, to how we build up a tiny little audience where we can have a profitable launch. What's important is that we solve for the equations. We've got the people, we have a way to collect the order. And then the rest the rest is like when people are like, oh, I'm just killing it on Kickstarter right now. Everybody goes, oh, Kickstarter is the new thing. No, Kickstarter was the way that you collected the order and you advertise it on Facebook and you did both of them well. Solve for those two equations, not trying to pick what the best channel is for either. How can you pull the lever when the product is not consumable? You would do it with new product. You do it with a new positioning of the product. You would do it with certain promotions. You would do, actually, when we go through email, I'm going to go through some of the reasons I have to pull the lever. And sometimes it's as simple as, it's Wednesday. Literally, that sometimes is the reason. The way you pull the lever is by any new way to get in front of the customer to give them a reason to buy. And there is always a reason to buy. So you have no preference as to where to start a website if it is brand new. I have no preference as to where you collect the order. That is, wherever you would like to collect the order, do whatever is simplest. And for most people, that's Amazon, and it happens to be where the customer hangs out too. Okay, so here's what we're doing. All of these are going to be covered in their own section, and you're going to be receiving emails and notifications about when each of these are going to be and who's going to be leading that session. And by the end of this, you'll know how to use all of these different platforms, but my suggestion would be for you to pick one that resonates with you where you're like, I can get 1,000 people into one spot here. Go do it and report on your results. Because for some markets, these are going to work. Some of these are going to work better than others. For some of these, you're going to be able to pull the lever faster. For some of these, you are going to be the difference maker. You're like, oh, I've seen that done before. I know I can do that piece. Whereas working with an influencer is going to be really hard for me. Pick one that feels right, because we don't need to do all of them. I haven't done all of them. It's why I'm bringing in some other people to be walking you through some of this process. So for example, I have never launched a Kickstarter campaign. So I'm bringing in one of my contacts who just kills it on Kickstarter because they have an audience, because they do the demand piece right. And we're going to be walking through those processes. So pick one that feels good to you, and we're going to plug that into your business so that you have proven, predictable, profitable product launches. All right, that's what we're going to be doing over the next couple weeks. I'm excited for you guys because this is the magic elixir to getting past that $100,000 per month mark in sales, which is going to be a huge difference maker for your business. Give me some hashtags in the comments if you enjoyed this, and I'll be talking to you guys on future classes. Thanks for hanging out with me. Woo! That's a wrap. Bye.